Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I'm alone. Sorry. I got some news updates for you from around the land of smiles today, this Thursday, June 19th. Happy Juneteenth, Americans who are watching. Now, today, we'll be delving into the controversial leaked phone call between the Thai and Cambodian leadership, a German drug dealer and an Irish drug mule facing justice, and a little later, an update on the infamous M cyanide killer's impending court case. But before we begin, let's hear a quick word about our sponsor, and that is Fazwaz, the #1 real estate portal in Thailand. If you are buying, selling, or renting property, Fazwaz is your one-stop shop. They have agents that are on standby to be able to help you in whatever language it is that you speak, mostly. I don't think they do Pig Latin, but they are also available for your support 24/7. So go check out Fazwaz.com if you are in the mood to even just browse, see what the market looks like. They've got you covered. So I want to do one last plug for my birthday. Well, actually, I'll do it again today. Pop that up. Tomorrow is not my birthday's Saturday, but tomorrow we'll be celebrating it. My Alex Latour's birthday roast will be happening at the Comedy Joint on Khao San Road. So just Google the Comedy Joint, you'll be able to come. It's a free show. Some of my favorite best friends and comedians from around Bangkok will be coming to tear me a new one, and you can come and laugh at my pain. So if you're in town tomorrow night, Friday night, 10 p.m., head over to Khao San Road, and you can come check out the show. All right, now let's dive into our first story, which is our lead story, talking about the continuing conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. Yesterday, there was a leaked phone call between the leadership. Let's talk about how that is fueling diplomatic strain. A leaked phone call between Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra and ex-Cambodian leader Hun Sen has stirred diplomatic tensions. In the clip, Paetongtarn asks Hun Sen to disregard remarks from a Thai army commander, insisting they don't reflect official policy. Hun Sen confirmed the call's authenticity and suggested he may release the full 17-minute version after releasing just 9 minutes so far. Paetongtarn later acknowledged the leak, saying her informal tone aimed to de-escalate tensions, but criticized Hun Sen for politicizing the issue. She vowed to stop private talks and reaffirmed her commitment to national interests. Okay, all right, so there was a big demonstration in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh. Cambodia has now not only banned the import of fruits and vegetables, they've also banned cultural imports like Thai movies and dramas as well. So this is escalating, and it's getting a little scarier. To me, I will say this is reminiscent of many issues we've seen across the world, whether that's America and its involvement in the Middle East, Russia with Ukraine, China with Taiwan. The concept here is you create a boogeyman abroad so that the people at home don't recognize the boogeyman in the backyard. I'm not sure exactly what is at play behind closed doors. It does appear that Hun Sen has been acting in bad faith, leaking this to the public rather than trying to maintain good faith discussions in private. But in my opinion, it might be a matter of convenience for the leadership of both countries to escalate this. Now, I hope not, I'm going to knock on wood, that this becomes a hot conflict and instead is resolved between the bilateral talks, but time will have to tell. I'm curious to know your thoughts, so please let me know in the comments what you make of this recent development and what the future of the Thailand-Cambodian relationship will look like. All right, on to our next story. Quick sip. Unfortunately, we do have to talk a little bit about the crisis in the Middle East. Thailand has readied to evacuate its citizens amid the Israel-Iran crisis. Thailand is on high alert amid escalating Israel-Iran tensions, with the Royal Thai Air Force ready to evacuate up to 40,000 Thai nationals, mostly agricultural workers, in Israel. Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra confirmed full coordination between ministries and military units, stressing readiness for immediate action once Thai citizens are prepared to leave. Efforts are also underway in Iran, where Thai embassies have set up emergency shelters. The government remains vigilant, prioritizing citizen safety as the regional situation evolves. I do have to note, too, there were reports about Israel not allowing Thai citizens into bunkers when bombings were underway. I need to look into more about the details of that story, but curious to know people's thoughts on that aspect of it. Good to know that the Thai government is keeping their eye on the situation and ready to move a staggering, tens of thousands of Thai nationals that are over there working, I guess, in farms mostly, to be able to get them to safety. So again, the carrot of high pay in conflict areas is always going to be there. Is it worth the threat to your life, though? I would not think so personally, but who am I? Anyways, we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that as that continues to develop. All right, guys, on to our classic Tiger segments. Fanong's behaving badly. Our first stop, well, it's actually an interesting location. We don't go here too often. We're off to Norway. An Irish woman has been jailed in Norway over cannabis smuggling from Bangkok. That's right, an Irish woman, Jamie Mahone, 32 years old, has been jailed for 3 years in Norway after being caught smuggling nearly 30 kilograms of cannabis from Thailand. Arrested at Oslo Airport in January, she claimed ignorance of the bag's contents, but the court found her an intentional drug courier. Her case is linked to a violent Irish crime gang feud involving fugitive brothers and the murder of teen Keen Mulready Woods. Mahone's conviction marks another chapter in this ongoing underworld conflict. Where is Conor McGregor in all of this? I'm not sure, but this is a weird story. You can't feign ignorance, right? At this point, you're not going to be able to get away with it. 3 years is pretty light sentencing. You're in a Scandinavian country. By all accounts, they have some of the nicest prisons in the world, so she might have gotten lucky about where she was caught. But to say, I didn't know my suitcase had 30 kilograms of cannabis, the odd joint, maybe a dime bag that you didn't remember and you put in there, maybe you can get away with that. But if you either didn't know the contents and you were a courier for unknown contents, that's illegal. But I have my doubts, especially if she was connected to Irish crime gangs, that she was completely unaware. 3 years in jail. Is it worth it? The risk? You got to wonder. 30 kilograms, too. Maybe that sells for a lot in countries where it's not legal yet. It's not worth 3 years of my life in a country or in Thailand where you can easily get your hands on 30 kilograms of cannabis any day of the week. So, fair warning to all you would-be drug mules. Probably not worth the risk. To our next story. We're not done with the badly behaving Fanongs. This time, we got a German guy in our favorite destination to report on, Pattaya. Guess what he was doing? Dealing drugs, and he was caught after an undercover bust. Pattaya police have arrested a 42-year-old German man known as Mika, in a sting operation that uncovered over 427 grams of cocaine and a firearm. What good is cocaine if you don't have a gun? Operating under the cover of a barber shop and sports club, Mike sold drugs to foreigners. He was caught after selling cocaine to an undercover agent and trying to flee. A raid on his home revealed a larger stash. The arrest is part of ongoing efforts to crack down on foreign drug networks in Pattaya. I like that he tried to flee. Look, they already know where you were. Obviously, running away is not going to help the situation. But 420, that's a lot of cocaine. And obviously, the amount to trigger these federal investigations is lower with cocaine than other substances like cannabis. But yeah, operating under the guise of a barbershop, I think that's funny. Were they just sneak it under the cape afterwards? I'm not sure. But he is nabbed. And in Pattaya, going to jail, you're not going to be having a fun time. Compounding those charges will be the firearm. So obviously, if you're handling that amount of drugs, you're probably going to be handling large amounts of money. So in that case, you probably want some protection, which is just adding to even more criminal charges. So again, crime pays up to a point. And unfortunately for this man, he will now be facing Thai prison sentences of multiple years. Not a fun place to be. Speaking of jail time, this has been the court case that has captured the imagination of the world. Certainly, I've seen many YouTube documentaries about this particular case coming out of Thailand. Well, everybody remember the cyanide killer, Am Cyanide. Well, her murder trial is set for 2026, although they deny all charges. That's right, Sararat, dubbed Am Cyanide, has denied charges of murder, attempted murder, and forgery in court. She's accused of poisoning 2 women with cyanide, one fatally, and falsifying loan documents. Sararat maintains her innocence, claiming friendship with the deceased and denying involvement in either case. The court will hear 54 prosecution witnesses in 2026, with her defense calling 4. She also denied restitution claims and any role in a failed poisoning involving cyanide-laced capsules. Ooh, this had a lot of murder and intrigue. Look, you got to think innocent until proven guilty. The evidence paints a pretty clear picture to me, though. There was incentive. There was a lot of money involved. And, when the motive is there, the evidence is there, the court of public opinion took over on this case in a big way, but she's fighting. And we will find out whether or not she has an argument in her favor. 55 witnesses with only 4 being called by the defense. It seems like the prosecution has a lot to say about this particular case, but we're still going to have to wait until next year. She is still being held, I believe, without bail. So it's not a good time for her still at the moment, but we'll find out when that court case lands in 2026. We will certainly keep you updated here at The Tiger. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, though. What do you make of this one? All right. Cool. That's it for court cases. We got one last story for Thailand before we head into our greater ASEAN section of the news. This is a good story, I think, because we've actually seen some, it's not a good story. Look, I'll stop teasing it. Let's just get into it. A Thai army helicopter has crash landed. However, the 8 soldiers on board were merely injured. 8 Thai soldiers were injured after an army helicopter made an emergency landing in Ubon Ratchathani during a supply mission. A mechanical fault forced the pilot to land in Nayun district. 3 soldiers suffered moderate injuries, while 5 had minor ones. All are in stable condition, fortunately. Emergency teams quickly transported them to hospitals for treatment. The Royal Thai Army has yet to release details on the malfunction, but the pilot and responders were praised for averting a worse incident. Kudos to them. So many times you hear about these kinds of stories, helicopter crashes, high risks of fatalities. So very, very cool to see the pilot's skills on display to be able to take this emergency situation and make sure that the people emerged relatively unscathed. So some serious injuries, but everybody's stable. Everybody will recover by all accounts. Curious to know, what is the malfunction? I feel like there's been an uptick on these, not just in civilian cases and military cases around the world. Helicopters got a lot of moving parts, and it appears that the danger is still present. Fortunately, in this case, I'm happy to report no fatalities. All right. That's it for our Thailand section of the news. Before we dive into our ASEAN Now section, where we will have a little bit more to say about the Thailand-Cambodia dispute, we will hear a quick word from our sponsors over at Fazwaz. Tan, hit me. Thank you, Fazwaz, for sponsoring this show. If you guys have any needs in the real estate market in Thailand, buy, rent, or sell, go check out Fazwaz.com. Even if you just want to browse, sometimes I just like to look and see what's available, pique my interest. So go check out Fazwaz.com. Thanks, Fazwaz. On to our next story. We're heading into the ASEAN section, which, again, we're going to have a crossover story involving both Thailand and Cambodia. Hun Manet is defending what he calls Facebook diplomacy against Thai criticism. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet, son of Hun Sen, defended using Facebook for political communication after Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra criticized the practice as unprofessional. Manet argued Thai officials also use social media for major announcements without consulting Cambodia and warned that patience shouldn't be mistaken for weakness. He emphasized that social media is a fast, effective tool for modern governance. The exchange highlights shifting diplomatic norms and rising tensions between the two neighbors over political discourse platforms. All right, so Hun Manet, the current Prime Minister of Cambodia, son of Hun Sen, the former Senate president. This is a political dynasty, just like we have a political dynasty here in Thailand with the Shinawats. So again, I can't help but say that this appears to be two powerful families that are dealing with domestic problems, using each other in some sort of motivated way to create a boogeyman abroad. Will this escalate further? That remains to be seen. To me, it still seems like political theater, distraction politics. I am curious to know your thoughts, though, particularly Cambodia. You guys are watching on this channel. Is this a serious issue? It's definitely gotten to the point where tens of thousands of people have hit the streets in support of the Cambodian government in Phnom Penh. We haven't seen major protests here in Thailand, although I will tell you the sentiments that I've had talking with my Thai friends is that, yeah, there is an escalation of tension, and it's justified on the Thai side too. I would love to see this de-escalate. I think both countries have a lot of incentive to not fight each other and to get along, but for now it seems to be only going in one direction, and that's it's spiraling downwards. Bad. So anyways, I want to try to do my part to help de-escalate as well. All right, on to our next story. We're off to Malaysia, where the Prime Minister Anwar is urging crackdowns on vape and drug use among Malay youths. Apparently, vaping and drugs have become a problem in Malaysia, as the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has called for stronger measures to combat rising drug and vape abuse among youth, especially within the Malay community. Speaking at a national seminar, he urged over 1,000 educators to lead by example through strong ethics and language mastery. Anwar criticized past efforts as ineffective and emphasized collective responsibility. His remarks follow alarming reports of students vaping synthetic drugs and state-led bans in Terengganu and Pahang on e-cigarette sales. Okay, so, here in Thailand, e-cigarettes, not legal, vapes not legal. Of course, people are still able to find ways to get their hands on them, but in Malaysia, they're still very much legal. I was over there not too long ago, late last year, and they were everywhere. People were selling them, people were buying them all over the place. Even at the music festival I went to, there were booths set up just to sell them to people. However, in my opinion, any place where you're allowing cigarettes to be sold, where it seems like it's very prevalent and prominent within the cultures of Southeast Asia, e-cigarettes and vapes have been a major tool in helping people to get off of them. However, the other side of that coin is they are certainly marketed in a different way, right? They're very colorful, bright fruity flavors, easier for kids to get hooked on them too. So I can kind of see both sides of this argument, and I think the notion that education is key in allowing people to make informed decisions for themselves, that's probably the best way forward. As for drug use, obviously in Southeast Asia, it's a thing. Look, in this case, I usually am more libertarian when it comes to what you want to do with your own body, but at the same time, laws of the land, you got to respect them. So, yeah, education, making educated and informed decisions. Remember, cannabis still seen as a major drug in many of these markets where it is very much legal and safely regulated in other markets. So this is one of those situations where we have to see dominoes fall and culture moves ahead of the laws. So we'll have to see if the laws can catch up to what is normalized for the people living under those laws. All right. Anyways, our next story is something we talked about yesterday, and there's updates on it today. The volcano eruption in Indonesia, well, it is disrupting and grounding dozens of flights in and out of Bali. Dozens of Bali flights were canceled after Indonesia's, get ready for it, Mount Luatobi Laki-Laki erupted, spewing an 11-kilometer high ash cloud. The volcano on Flores Island triggered the highest alert level and prompted evacuations and a no-go zone within 7 kilometers of the crater. Flights from Australia, Singapore, and India were affected, including Jetstar, EU, and Singapore Airlines. Mount Mares Airport was temporarily closed. Ongoing tremors continue, with officials warning of further activity in this seismically active region. Ring of Fire strikes again. Fortunately, not a whole lot of damage. Of course, disrupting trips to Bali. That sucks. I get it. People want to go to Bali. But better safe than sorry. So this is reminiscent of, if you'll remember, the giant volcanic cloud over Iceland. Mojo, if you're watching, salud. But yeah, better safe than sorry, I say. That was quite an impressive display of nature. As long as everybody's safe, though, yay. No point in risking it, but I'm very sorry to any of our viewers that may have been trying to get over to Bali. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer, or maybe just come over to Thailand instead, where our skies are clear. All right, a fun story coming out of Vietnam, an interesting story, because, we talk about it in Thailand all the time. Scams in taxis. Guess what? They have them in Vietnam as well. A taxi driver in Hanoi has been arrested after overcharging an ethnic passenger at about $160. God knows how many dong that is. A Hanoi taxi driver has been arrested for extorting 2 ethnic Hmong passengers by charging them 4.2 million Vietnamese dong, which is about 160 USD, for a 30-kilometer trip over 10 times the normal fare. The victims, misled by motorbike taxi drivers, were pressured into taking the overpriced cab. When they protested, the driver threatened to return them to the station. The story went viral after a kind driver who later helped them posted it online. Authorities are now investigating multiple individuals involved. Yucky. All right, so ethnic minority typically don't have the best situation, wherever it is that they are, being taken advantage of by a taxi driver who was then backed up by motorbike taxi drivers who were enforcing their story. Like, oh yeah, that's the normal price. Seems a bit steep. Yeah, 10 times higher. Pretty insane to me. And the lengths that some people are willing to go to take advantage of people who just don't know better, it's very frustrating because, you know, this story got the attention because it went viral by some good Samaritan. How many times has this happened and they've gotten away with it without facing any kind of punishment? So, again, though, Vietnam, this is one of those places. Corruption's a big problem in Vietnam, and I've heard stories from friends that live over there that it goes all the way down to the street sweeper, right? Like, it's not just government officials, it's like very intrinsic to the whole system. However, when these stories go viral, there's crackdowns and heads roll, and there are examples that are made. So I am curious to see what the future of Vietnam looks like when it comes to this kind of enforcement. And again, the story emphasizes the thought that social media is a powerful tool to bring attention to these situations. Now, again, you've got to remember, places like Vietnam, China, other places where corruption is prevalent and media is controlled, you have to be careful about how you present these stories. So in this case, the story is presented in a way where the government is not seen as failing these people. It's seen as what could be the hero to come to the aid of these people. So while I believe in freedom of the press, obviously I love delivering the news in the way that I like to, if you are in these countries dealing with this kind of press suppression, it's very important to choose your words carefully and how you frame the story carefully to be able to make the government be seen in a good light rather than in a failing light to affect the change that actually matters. And that, in this case, is helping these ethnic minorities who were taken advantage of. My 2 cents, but curious to know your thoughts, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about press freedom and the way we frame stories down here in Southeast Asia. All right. That'll do it, guys, for our stories from around Thailand. Before I dive into the comment section and have a conversation with our viewers, let me wrap up the show. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's edition, Thursday, June 19th of Good Morning Thailand. If you want more news stories about Thailand, you can go to thetiger.com. Or if you want to dive into the conversation about any of these stories, you can head over to ASEANnow.com, which is the largest foreign expat forum. Anyways, tongue twister. You can go and create an account there and dive in with like-minded expats or not like-minded expats if you want to get into it and duke it out with people online, like I sometimes like to do. You can go check that out. Also, be sure to follow us subscribe to us here. You can hit that little join button and become a member of our YouTube channel and experience all sorts of benefits, not limited to cute emojis, merch, studio tours, all that stuff. It really helps out the channel. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, wherever you get your social media fix to see content you wouldn't normally see here on the YouTube channel. That'll do it for me. We will be back again with you tomorrow, Friday, to close out the week. And now, for now, I will dive into it at the live chat. Oh, yeah, one last plug. If you guys are seeing this, our live chat starts at 9:30. We do the show live every day at 9:30 in the morning Thai time. If you'd like to see us live and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to do that every single day of the week. All right. Bye, guys. Let me dive into the comments.
If you like that story, please like and subscribe. And for more Thailand news, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok at The Tiger, or you can go to thetiger.com and join the conversation.